For me, he's the foremost constitutional scholar anywhere.
Almost any lawyer who in East Africa was taught by Yash.
Yash is a very humble, affable person who's always ready and willing to share his knowledge.
I was born in Ruiru, and my father had grandfather and father had a shop in Ruiru. I did my studies in what was then the government Indian primary school, then government Indian high school. I applied to Oxford, and they did exams as they do normally, so I got admitted. So then I spent 3 years of study in Oxford, and I got good grades. And then I was doing a special year at Harvard Law School. William Twining persuaded me that I should go to Dar es Salaam. Have 5 countries. They have been discriminated against. We must now do what we can to balance things. So I went, and then I was there for about 10 years nearly.
Met Yash Ghai as a student when I went to study law in Dar es Salaam. When I was in my second year doing administrative law, which was 69-70. He was the dean of the law school, in Dar es Salaam.
I used to meet with the Vice Chancellor of Nairobi, with the Registrar, and so on. And each time we met, they said, "Why don't you come home? Why don't you come home? The community is breaking up. Come." So eventually I gave in. I mean, they had the usual way, interviews and so on. The day before I was supposed to leave Dar es Salaam, having done my duty, and I was called. A former student of mine rang me and said, "Don't come to Kenya. Something might happen to you. Don't come." Another few minutes, get another call from the registrar of the University College of Nairobi. And he said, "We have cancelled your contract." I said, "You can't do that. It's a long process, lot of interviews, lot of candidates, and now you tell me you have cancelled it. On what basis?" "Oh, I can't tell you. I'll tell you one day, I can't tell you."
Charles Njonjo and others, stopped it. Because they thought he was very radical, and he had written this book in 69, which was critical of Kenya's constitution and public law generally.
Anyway, the result was that I left East Africa, and for very many years, because people kept on saying, "Don't come, don't come." Though I suppose after a number of years I probably could have come, but there was so much nastiness in this country then. People were being killed, people were being imprisoned for nothing.
My introduction of Professor Ghai was just through public information. One as a law professor, and just initially just reading the books he had written, so mostly as a scholar. Then of course when he got involved in the Kenyan constitution making process back in 1999, I think.
There were two parallel processes then. One that was led by Raila Odinga, and the other one that was the Ufungamano one, which was chaired by the late Oko Mbaka. So Yash Ghai was able to, bring the two together, and that's how you had a united front to the bombers draft.
I traveled, as you know, not all of us traveled, the commission, around the country, talking to people, listening to them. First time we went quick tour, saying who we were, why we had come, what we were doing, and saying, okay, now you have 2-3 months, we are going to come back. But this time, I don't talk, you talk. You tell us what kind of constitution you want.
But the first time I ever came to Kilifi was to go to a meeting, a really large meeting, inland. We drove from around here for a couple of hours, I think, to get to a meeting where there were 600 people very enthusiastic about the whole process of the constitution and making their contributions. So in that sense I was watching the process.
There are people who may say the 2010 constitution was not, Yash Ghai's constitution was not the bombers' constitution. It was, some people may say it was committee of experts, but I would say 85 to 90% of the 2010 constitution was the work that was done by CKRC, read by Professor Ghai.
Yes, in his simple way, yes, what do you need? He told me we needed just one room to be documenting statement for victim of police brutality and extrajudicial killing. And Yash offered to pay us a small office where we are in Madare number 10. That small office, since 2016, Yash has been paying us that small office. And that's the major contribution. Because if he didn't come to help us that time, I think we would not have taken off.
Yash is a very humble, affable person who's always ready and willing to share his knowledge, compassionate to the sufferings of others, and passionate not only about human rights and democracy, but passionate about Kenya and the potential that Kenya has as a country and for its people. And so, that sort of inspires you to try and support initiatives and things he's doing to actualize that dream.
Professor, mine and yours was a small or a short stint, but I can tell you for a fact it's the reason that we are and I am who I am today.
And Professor Yash, I think you have been an inspiration all through. That the struggle is never really won. It is a continuous, and that's why the saying "aluta continua." And therefore, your resilience and persistence is really admirable.
Greatest gift you can give Professor Ghai and Professor Gil is to uphold the principles that he has defended for all his life.